Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss current affairs for today, 29th of April 2022. Good evening to all the participants. Thank you for attending these questions here. Hi Kriti, Bhavani, Amlan, Hima, Ashish, all of you, welcome. Other people watching offline, welcome to all of you. Let's begin the discussion for today, that is 29th of April 2022. And before that, today's quote: be thankful for the life that we have. Not just the life, but every component of the life that we have, be it what we eat, how we are able to survive ourselves, the relatives that we have, the kind of curriculum that we follow, the values that we share with people, all of them are something that makes us feel grateful. Yes, there are some of us who are unprivileged, who are underprivileged, and that is definitely something that we want to work upon. However, many of us who are watching this video right now, we have got phones, we have got electricity, we have got presence of water with us, we are able to eat 2 square meals for the day, we are studying and struggling for something that is beyond ourselves. That means we are developed intellectually as well. That's how there is one more important component that we must have, that is we should be grateful for what we have. We must thank for whatever we own today, because through this we will be able to develop something that people will be able to cherish for themselves. Good evening to other people. Vakram, Kim, let's begin this. Now what will we cover? These many articles? No, but this is to just reassure you what we are doing here. What we will cover are some updates about gas supplies, RBI credit card rules, some new rules for non-bank companies, Gagan for navigation. We will understand how the system works, the satellite-based augmentation system, logistics seminar of the Air Force 2022, something about labor force participation rate. We have covered this. Innovative agriculture, RAZINA Dialogue, MALIGAY MEDU site in Tamil Nadu, and innovative urinals, PP centers. These are the things that we will cover, but just to make you understand what we do and what happens with the regular participations, this is what happens. These are most important highlights of today's newspaper, picked up from a couple of newspapers from today's news itself. Just read it out to understand if you know 4 to 5 points about these articles or not, and not just the factual points, but something that is intellectually more stimulating. That is something that UPSC might be inclined towards. India's position, first one being India's position on sanctions hasn't changed a bit, says Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi. So India's position on sanction hasn't changed a bit. Yes, absolutely. India is against unilateral sanctions. India is pro sanctions which are put by United Nations. India is also against any kind of activity which is against peace, right? So we know something about this. 5G services roll out likely in August, September. All right. So 5G will get rolled out. 3 advantages, 3 issues with related to our 5G, and the conversation about 5G spectrum, right? So spectrum allocation and how the charges going to get fixed. They will be lower than before. What are the reasons for it? Advantages of 5G will help Internet of Things, in industrial production. Consumer behavior will change, and issues, inclusivity is an issue, cost will be an issue. Keen on lifting AFSPA from Northeast. This is what the Prime Minister says. So we'll have to understand some depths about AFSPA. We do know that. Power supplies to hospitals could be disrupted. We know the reason for power supply cuts in the country. There is lesser supply. This is again and again in the news, and you people have written answers right here. What I am all wanting to focus here is that we must know a few causes for power supply shortages in the country, whether it is supply chain or related to finances or less availability of quality power in the country, whatever be the reasons, international reasons, rainfall, whatever it be. We have to understand this, and that's how we will understand a topic like this. A question will not come on power supply to hospitals. A question will definitely come on issues with power supply. The next one, demand for revenue share in privatized airports. Okay, have we covered this? Absolutely, 2 days back. It's in the newspaper today. Balswa fire. All right. Fire burning out in Delhi's landfill sites for 5 days. Balswa fire, 50 lakh fine on North Civic Body. The fire is been here for 5 days because it was emitting methane. The articles which have been lying there for years and years, they started to emit methane from degraded components, degraded bodies, degraded biological entities. And Along with that, the rising temperature led to fire. Who is responsible? North Delhi Municipal Corporation, the same body which has been indulged in proactive anti-encroachment drives, has not participated in removal of these kind of debris. All right. So do we know what is about the landfill sites, how we are trying to manage the solid waste, liquid waste? We have covered feature news on this. Just type down and you will understand the role of the role of informal sector in solid waste management and solid waste management itself. We have covered it all. The issues faced by people there and the kind of solutions that should be provided by the government. Biden proposes $33 billion aid for Ukraine. So they reassert that we will keep helping Ukraine. All right. So Ukraine being used as a pawn. Maharashtra reduced VAT on natural gas, did not hike fuel tax. Each chief minister now explaining that they did not use some ways in which they could generate more revenue for themselves. They are explaining because the central government has, now this is politics, has accused them. On the other hand, central minister says some states indulging in fuel tax hypocrisy. They are not reducing tax when the center reduces tax. We have covered this taxation yesterday. We'll show a small update today as well. Are freebies affecting the economic growth of India? Part of the center page editorial article. Freebies like cross subsidy in electricity, freebies like PDS supplies, freebies like availability of water free of cost to many people, the supply of raw materials like fertilizers, supply of various other entities at very low cost to people. Is it affecting the economic growth of the country? Absolutely it is, right? Impact on competitive competition and international competitiveness of India is getting affected. Another one, mercury soars to 43.5 degrees amid heat wave in Delhi, highest yet this season. This is not just Delhi, all of us are facing this kind of issue. So point here to mention is the reason for the soaring temperatures. One of the primary reasons this time is that the western disturbances which would affect us in the months of February, March and even up to April, they would happen say 4 to 5 times every month, right? So milder and more of these kind of temperate cyclones affecting us, and then therefore leaving some amount of rainfall in the northern part of the country. They are very mild this year, and that is what is affecting the mercury temperature rise. All right, so see, we know all about it. This is what every newspaper has covered. Most of the popular newspapers have covered, and we are covering quite a few more articles apart from what we have covered previously. So be consistent, and then you will see how confident you will become. The level of confidence, when you people mention 40 to 60 to 70, that is only because you have been consistent, you have been participant. That's a great sign for people who want to achieve great heights, right? Remember, it is only a matter of practice that will lead to excellence. Not just that, the matter of consistency that leads to more confidence. So great, let's begin this. Now, this is an update on the oil. See, this is not only serving the curiosity of each of you, but this is also a part of India's diplomacy. It is a part of how India should treat the world. So, India's economy, India's federal relations with other countries, all of them will get treated with articles like this. So, Russia is cutting off Poland and Bulgaria's suppliers. Why these two countries? Let's know this in the map itself. See, Poland has been just at the border of Russia, and Bulgaria also has been at the border of Russia. Now, somehow the blue colored countries here, dark blue, are NATO countries. So they are NATO countries threatening Russia's frontiers, right? Russia did not want these countries to become NATO countries, but they are NATO countries. Now, Russia has threatened all the European countries, if you do not start paying us in rubles, then we will start cutting down the gas supplies to you. And it has already initiated this cut down on Romania and Poland. So what is the kind of crisis? Let's understand, and why these two countries specifically. See, the payment from these two countries were pending for this quarter, and they could not pay in the requisite currency, that is the rubles. That is why they have been cut off from the supply list. Now, Poland has always been thinking of diversifying its energy sources, but Bulgaria has been quite dependent on Russia. So Bulgaria will face a lot of challenges. Now, these countries, specifically because they are on the borders, and these countries are the ones with which they are beginning. The next round of payment will happen after 1.5 months. And that's why until that time, the security of energy, especially gas, is secure for all the other European countries. Now, these countries, since they are at the forefront, they are also supplying supplying forces, power, medical supplies, machineries, tanks, any defense supplies to Ukraine. That is another crisis. So when they are supplying on this, Russia is just not happy. Why Poland is supplying all these entities? Whether NATO created or non-NATO created, why are you supplying? This is a war against us. Russia is definitely on the back foot here, but then Russia can stop supplying these countries. That's what it has done. Right, so this is the background to it. Now, what you must know is that Bulgaria is 77% dependent of Russian gas, and Poland is 40% dependent on Russian gas. See, Europe gets 40% of its gas supplies from Russia itself, and the other two places it gets its supplies from are one is Algeria, and the second one is Norway. Norway, Algeria, and Russia. When Russian supplies decrease, it will have to have more channels for supplies from Algeria, that is North Africa, and Norway. But these are the places from where they do not have, all the places do not have the supply pipes. They will have to have the tankers. Now, when gas tankers, petroleum tankers come, then you will also see rising prices of fuel, import of fuel, because this is expensive. Transportation through pipelines is cheaper. Right, there's also a container crisis. So those are the problems which these countries will face. Apart from that, let's just quickly understand what are these what is the European energy basket. So energy basket, 43% of energy is through oil sources, oil, natural gas 24%, nuclear energy 14%, hydroelectric 4%, and rest around 15% is renewable, that is solar or wind. We can't expect a lot of solar in temperate areas. It is expected in tropical areas. Now let's cut down nuclear, because nuclear power is something that many European countries are not pro. Germany, one of the leaders in nuclear power, said we will cut down on nuclear after Fukushima. That happened in Japan. Then looking at other supplies, for example, oil. Now these are the supplies which are more which are creating more of global warming. And coal, Europe also has got coal, but Europe will not be using coal because this is very it dirties the nature, dirties the atmosphere, greenhouse gases, global warming happens. So when it is dependent on natural gas and it is not getting provided, there will be further price rise. It can have some certain level of reserves kept with itself, but then definitely going to impact the inflation level in Europe and other places. Remember, we had covered the natural gas pipeline coverage in the country. In India, it is 7% in the energy mix. In India, 7% is through natural gases. In Europe, it is 24%. This is one of the cleaner modes of production. Okay, good enough. So that's it. Let's move ahead. The next update, oh yes, quick one. Yesterday when I showed you the oil chart, oil prices, I did not have the latest figures, but then here are the latest figures. Have a look. I put the clips from some of the other newspapers so that credibility is also maintained, and then updated data is also here. Have a look. The price of petrol that we pay in Delhi is 105.41 rupees, 105 rupees, and out of that the base price is 56 rupees. To add to it, freight charges is just 20 paise, and dealer commission is 4 rupees. Just add this amount, it comes to around 60 rupees. 60 rupees. And even if you add to and look at the amount of taxes which the government is taking, so 27 rupees and 17 rupees, this amounts to 28 and 17 would amount to 45 rupees of taxes in 60 liter of petrol that we take. 45 rupees of taxes and 60 rupees, right? So that's how it amounts to 105, and this is in Delhi. When you look on to some of those states like Telangana, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, you would find more taxes being, more amount being collected with the help of taxes. Some of the countries charge on taxes. For example, when you look at Russia, in a country like Russia, payments, the revenue that the government generates, 40% of the revenue that Russian government generates is because of its gas supplies. 40% of the revenue. So it sells gases. What India utilizes is we don't have that much supplies by ourselves. So what we import, we tax that much, right? So we generate our revenues with the help of taxing these and not creating these products, right? So we pay double for this. That's the update here. All right. So moving ahead to what we have also covered in the Gazette today. All right. Let's move. Credit card rules. The first one is credit card rules that has been released by RBI in a master circular. RBI says that we have been providing chunks and chunks of updates for you people, non-banking companies, but now we will provide a quick update on credit card rules, and this will be a master circular. Many rules and guidelines will be put. So they have said that this is in the interest of consumers. Firstly, consumers, and this is also going to set straight the business of the non-bank companies providing credit cards. There are two kinds of companies providing credit cards. One is banking companies, right? Regular banks, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, SBI, and they provide credits. Even when we don't have any amount in our bank account, they can give us credit for certain duration, and within which when we pay back, it's fine. Otherwise, they will incur some charges, some penalty will be incurred. That's the margin in which their profit works. Now, they say that is it not true that many of us have utilized credit cards and our data has been shared somewhere we don't know, and then we start receiving messages? Now, this is what happens in co-branded credit cards. So, just example, a simple example is this credit card. For example, have a look at this HDFC Bank credit card, and then Indian Oil has been written here, right? So these are co-branders, right? Branding partners. Now Indian Oil is promoting this card. They are promoting themselves. When we go to Indian Oil petrol stations, there will be some discount given to us in case we use this card. They are co-branding partners. Now we understand we will be able to purchase more of Indian Oil. Indian Oil will be in profit. But can our data be shared with Indian Oil? Right? What kind of am I high net worth individual? What is my salary? Or am I a business person? All that should not be shared. So this data sharing must not happen. RBI has repeatedly told, it has put this in the master circular as well. Similarly, there are other regulations also which RBI has said. RBI has said that whenever you are issuing a credit card, you will inform us beforehand. This is for non-banks. Banks are fairly streamlined. Non-banks. What are non-banking companies? Non-banking financial companies, simply companies which, for example, Bajaj Finance, right? So these people finance bigger organizations, bigger institutions. They also at retail level issue credit cards. They can do that. They can do that, but then they have to seek some approval. Underwriting process. What is the way in which they are giving loans to people? Recovery practices. Now, in case the person has not been able to give back 1 lakh rupees that they owed to the bank, what are the recovery practices? Are they ethical or not? They must be looked at. So this is what the RBI has said. Recovery practices have to be ethical. Closure of inactive cards. There are many places where cards aren't used. They are inactive. Now that's where RBI says that after a certain duration, you must close those cards, credit cards. Data sharing with co-brands, done. Seeking consent of customers. There are many times when money gets withdrawn from our account, from credit cards and debit cards, and we don't know why. And then, the banks come with some excuses. This was X charge, Y charge, and Z charge. All this must be available to the client, to the customer, and in a transparent manner. Similarly, cashback offers. These co-brands, when they issue cashbacks, they must be clearly acknowledged. They must be clearly mention what kind of cashbacks offers are available so that the client does not feel cheated. And late payment charges. See, right now, do you know one thing? In the credit card business, around 30 to 35% of the credit card earnings are in the form of late charges only. 30-35% earnings are through late charges only. So that means that if I have not been able to pay within a certain duration of time, the late charges will start to apply. Now, late charges should apply only for the amount which I have not been able to deposit in the limited time. So this is where RBI has said that the late payment charges or the penalty will be reduced a little for the clients. This is the credit card rules. Co-branded cards. Co-branded card is a credit card that retailer of consumer goods or services issues in partnership with particular credit card issuer. So credit card issuer is HDFC Bank and the person providing the service is Indian Oil. Both of them are doing work with each other, co-branded cards. Gagan for navigation. Let's look at what we are talking of here. Space-based augmentation system, SBS. Right now, the system that we have in India is GPS, global positioning system. They've got quite a few, 24 satellites placed all around, moving around, and they provide services all around the world. Wherever we go, navigation will work. Even if the most interesting part is, even if you go up high in the air, 10 kilometers up, and you are in a flight, you would still see your phone working and showing where you are. You should try that. I have done this and it actually works. It navigates, it lets us know where exactly we are. So this is what global positioning system does. But then what they do, what America does here is that they introduce slight errors so that this GPS cannot be used for military activities. It is very precise. It is very precise. Even less than a meter is the precision. Less than meter would be to understatement. It is even lesser than that. Precision to high degrees there to understand where a person is located, right? So military activities and civil activities both are carried out. Now, in case there is a error that USA has introduced, it is USA's GPS. If they have introduced some level of error, say 50 to 100 meters, even then we will be able to reach our destination. Is it not true? We reach at the back gate of somebody else's home rather than the front gate. It is possible because of the kind of errors that have been introduced in GPS. Some flight errors are there. Now, but these errors can be a huge lot of difference when we use it for military applications, when we use for aircraft landing, aircraft navigation applications. Therefore, what India has done is that India has started its space-based augmentation system, SBAS. It is a important service that can be provided to aircrafts which are in the country and traveling in the country. So while they want to land, they can use some error correction introduced in GPS systems, and they can land their aircrafts. What a good system, absolutely. So how do they operate is something like this. We get the GPS feeds, and with the help of ground-based stations based at places like Delhi, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and other cities, there are systems placed in all these cities. Assume that these are cities, right? Not these are satellites. These are cities, and these cities provide the difference of data that they receive, right? And then their data is received by a master station. Yes, master station. Yeah, these are the reference stations. Have a look. So these are the places. Suppose Delhi, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Patna, and Chennai. 5 places, and the relative location of the flight is located, and the error degree is found out when they compare the position of flight at the master station, right? So when they understand that yes, reality is 3 degrees different than what is being presented, or 35 meters different. So this is where space-based augmentation system helps in clearing those differences, and those facilities are provided, and the flight can land or take off without any human intervention. Have a look. Now this is where you will see the flight landing without the aid of the pilot. It is all space-based augmentation system, which is accurate to a very small degree as well, right? Fraction of meters, and the flight is able to land with the help of what is being provided at the airstrip, the electromagnetic signals and the lighting facilities, and you see the aircraft has landed on the ground place. This is only possible with the help of space-based augmentation system. GPS would not be able to help this kind of, if we wanted to land on airstrip, it would land on the grassland around it. That's the problem. So we have started using this system for the first time, and this was at one of the smaller airports, Kishangarh near Ajmer. All right, that's in news. India becomes the 4th nation to have used satellite-based navigation services to aviation sector. Thank you very much, and great job done. All right, now there are places where there's low visibility, it can be used there. There are places where for urgent requirement and demands, the flight has to be turned from its actual path to urgent, to other destinations. Diversions are there, cancellations are there, and because of this, we can have utility of space-based augmentation systems. So this is there. Now the pilots will be able to land aircraft even at smaller airports, because there will be higher degree of accuracy provided to them. This is satellite-based augmentation system, also called as GAGAN, right? GAGAN is GPS-aided geo-augmented navigation. Okay, great enough. We can use this for various other purposes also. For example, we can use a similar thing to provide ocean-based navigation to our fishermen as well, fisher people also. Inquise, right? Inquise based at Hyderabad uses the same service. Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services using the same GAGAN messaging services. This is called as GMS. And similarly, other agencies can also use intelligent transportation, maritime, highway, agriculture, power sector, mining. Everybody can use this. Okay, moving ahead to Logisem YO, logistics seminar by the Air Force. See, Air Force says, one of the articles in the news today was Air Force saying that we should be ready for short and tactical kind of missions as well. They have given certain reasons for this. First, they say that having the conventional warfare, we have understood with Pakistan that Pakistan has been defeated in many of the conventional war. It does have a nuclear capability. So indulging in longer wars, right? Few weeks, the Kargil war went on for a couple of months. Similarly, 1965 war went for a few weeks. Similarly, the Bangladesh Liberation War or 1947-48 war went for months, right? So this is something that we should avoid, because a country like Pakistan, right, a deviant child of ours, has a nuclear threat with it, and also it is costing huge to the exchequer. Similarly, when we carry out Balakot airstrikes, when we had Pulwama attack, these are the far more effective strikes, surgical kind of strike, which are effective, which can be implemented in a very short frame of time and can execute what is actually required. So what we need is quick and high intense attack for a smaller duration. That's the quick update about Logisem Vayu. So we must have logistics for those kind of attacks. Air Force, military, army, each of them. All right. So if you look at this image, have a look at this Chinook helicopter providing resources. We must be proactive in providing these kind of resources at short term itself. Labor force participation rate. We have not covered this today because we have covered this previously. Government trying to say that the labor force participation rate has not decreased, it has actually increased. So data is not important. What is important to understand is what are the causes for decline, or what are the causes for, or what are the ways in which we can accelerate the labor force participation rate. Remember yesterday's feature news on the industrial corridors? Now, if we have those kind of corridors running, we will have more jobs created in manufacturing, construction. That's what is required. That will increase the labor force participation rate in the country. That will be good. So, you people have any questions, you please put them down in the comment section, and I will ensure to get back and cater to those questions as well. Innovative agriculture practices and news in PIB. Government has conducted a seminar. Now, see, PIB is full of these kind of news. But what we need to understand is government emphasizing innovative agriculture every time. When we give fertilizer inputs, when we give extreme level of water as input, when we provide seeds, hybrid seeds as input, these are costly inputs, right? And this is where the government says that if we apply some kind of innovative agriculture techniques, we will not be making agriculture so intensive. It will be an easier practice, and this will be good for everybody, right? India will not be spending so much on agriculture, and profitability for the farmers will rise. So they say India ranks first in number of organic farmers, okay, and ninth in terms of area under organic farming. See, India will be one of the larger countries because we've got high amount of area. India's 43% of area is agriculture area itself, plus 8% of fallow land. Imagine this. So 43% of area, developed countries do not spend this level of area for agriculture. So when we have more agriculture space, we will have more number of farmers, already a bigger country, we will have more area in farming. We don't have to remember this data, just that government emphasizes on agriculture, innovative agriculture. All right, that's what it is about. So do remember, I have explained in details about organic farming practices and zero budget natural farming practices. If you need it any day, let me know. I have the slides with me. I will again cover it. So production includes flax seeds, sesame seeds, soya bean, tea, medicinal plant, rice, pulses, all of them. Government emphasizes on them. All right, where is it present? PIB. RAZINA Dialogue, initiated in the year 2016. This is where Ministry of External Affairs participates with ORF, Observer Research Foundation. We cover their articles as well in editorials. So, and many of the other news items as well. So they have conducted yet another round of RAZINA Dialogue. Why RAZINA? Because this is conducted in the RAZINA Hills. That's the place where the Central Secretariat and all the other ministries, President's home is located, right? RAZINA Hills. So they have, what they do is they invite number of persons, think tanks, people who are in geopolitics, geoeconomics, who are global leaders, and they present talks on various themes. The 6 major themes for discussion are end of multilateralism. End of multilateralism does not mean starting off unipolar world, but a network global order. This was one of the themes. We have discussed this, with be it price rise, be it the impact of war, United Nations, anything. And you see, multilateralism has ended and it is a global order now. Everybody gets impacted with the smaller thing happening at any corner of the world. The second important theme that they have is rethinking democracy, trade, technology and ideology. How should we rethink democracy? People come and give their lectures on this. So one day you people are able enough, you people will be, I'm sure you people go and participate, you will be invited to these kind of dialogues as speakers or as who are people who can raise questions. Okay, communities, first responders to health development planet in times of corona crisis. water, the problems that are happening in the Indo-Pacific region. All right, technology wars and greener transition. These are the problems, these are the challenges, and people are presenting their opinion. Similar kind of dialogues do exist at other places also. For example, we have one, what's the name of that hotel, that 5-star hotel? It is held in Singapore, and China leads the dialogue. What is the name of that hotel? It's there in Delhi as well. I remember, I'll tell you. So that's the kind of dialogue that China holds. And similarly, there are other kinds of regional forums also which invite people from all abroad. If you know that name of the forum, let me know. Another update is from MALIGAY MEDU site. The excavation for another round, excavation of another round has begun here. This is one of the sites where the Chola empires, they began. And we are speaking of Tamil Nadu. So historical related perspective. All right. And innovative urinals. This PP center, called as PP centers, this innovative urinal, it utilizes plastic bottles and the recycled plastic bottles to create the toilets. In fact, what is different in this kind of toilet is that they not only reuse the product, they are also able to utilize the urine and process it before discharging it in the environment, right? So if you know more about the railway toilets and how they dispose, they also have this kind of disposal system where they qualify the disposed item and not dispose it in the nature right away. Similar goes for the aeroplanes. When aeroplanes discharge these kind of items, they ensure that they are qualified, they are worth presenting back to the nature, and they do not produce the kind of issues that are produced in Bhalswa landfills, where you see fires emanating because of methane levels. All right. So this innovative urinal called as PP centers are also part of basic shit, which was initiated by Ashwini Agrawal in 2014. So great cause. All right. Yes, Shangri-La Dialogue, the Hotel Shangri-La. Thank you very much. Okay, let me see if there are some questions here. People being offline, if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. And if you have got questions, most welcome to put it in the comment section. So Kriti says temperatures are 44 and daily power cuts. Oh yes, now you can explain what's happening. Firefighters. Oh yes. So yesterday you showed how percentage of taxes on petroleum was more by center, and today the union ministers accused states. Okay. The accusation was of yesterday and day before yesterday only, and then now the state chief ministers have started to defend themselves. Who is at fault? Well, this is politics. See, the center releases funds. They release more funds for those states in some form of grants where the same party exists in the center state also. So the state governments where the central government is not in power, they are somehow forced to have more measures for themselves to collect taxes. This is one accusation. I'm not saying this is very much verified in all ways, but this is one accusation. The other one is that when the states are able to raise more taxes, they become more competent to be able to utilize it in their own way. Because when there are central sector schemes or there are centrally sponsored schemes, when those schemes run, it is the center which tells how the amount has to be utilized. But when the state is collecting these kind of revenues, the state has got more say in how it has to utilize this kind of fund. So this is more about federalism. This is more about center-state relations. Nobody is at fault. All of them are trying to generate sources of revenue and they are not able to do this. But yes, I also explained the political angle. The angle of elections, the times when even if the global prices are rising, the petrol prices won't rise. The center government reduces the price, the state government do not reduce the price. So this is all politics which we do not have to discuss, but we have to understand that. All right. It's a political question, but still, okay, how to tackle questions will not be asked on how the different state governments will respond on this. What you have to prepare yourself is the amount of money that government takes through these kind of charges. So almost 20% of government's income is through taxing on petrol and diesel. Imagine that. Around 4 lakh crore is what central government gains, 2 lakh all the states gain, 6 lakh rupees, 6 lakh crore rupees, 4 lakh crore rupees, and 25 lakh is what government earns. We all know that, right? So, and speaking about the oil bonds, you also know very well that the oil bond cost, I had shown you yesterday very clearly, it was less than 2 lakh crore, the repayment. And we have not been doing that. We have been collecting huge amounts. Even central government is planning to bring many products under 28% GST slab from lower slabs. See, so that's what they do to be able to raise more ways in taxation. So yes, today's editorial is one of them is a very good one on. In fact, both are very good. I choose specifically, but one of them speaks about how the government's fiscal is getting stronger or getting affected negatively because of the war in Ukraine and Russia. We will not talk about what is happening in Russia, Ukraine, but how it has impacted the fiscal situation, the budget situation. Have a look, a small editorial, but yet very powerful to understand the concepts, right? So this is where we finish the current affairs section. We will quickly move to the feature news for today. Today's feature news is on Global Assessment Report on Disaster Risk Reduction. All right. Thank you for participation. And today is Friday. We will not meet tomorrow and the after tomorrow. I will pass on some articles, interesting ones for tomorrow, and from editorials. But then all you got to do is quickly prepare these as notes and then keep revising. All right. So see you in the current affairs discussion. Thank you.